بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد. In the previous session we talked about the wilayat and we said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given capabilities and powers to people who get close to him. This is mentioned in the different verses of Quran. And we said that when we bear in mind the true concept of Tawheed Af'ali, unity in actions, we see that the true understanding of Tawheed in that perspective that everything is done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not what Jabriya and determinists said, that everything is in the hand of Allah, we have no control over it. Not what Mufawwiza said, that everything is totally delegated to us and Allah is retired. What it is Amrun Bain al Amrain means that in every act Allah is the cause of the causes, but at the same time there are causes in the chain of the effects which is being done, and because of that we can ascribe the act to Allah. At the same time we can ascribe the act to the different causes like human beings. And from that perspective, man will have his freedom at the same time that Allah's role is also is there. And by bearing this fact in mind, as we narrated from Ayatollah Subhani, then to believe that some people have been bestowed some extraordinary power or knowledge of ghaib, then this is not something strange, this is not something odd, and this is not going to oppose the knowledge and power of Allah. And even if you want to separate between the ordinary acts of man and extraordinary acts of man, this itself will lead to a kind of a shirk. If you want to think that extraordinary acts only are done by Allah and ordinary acts are done by man, this means that in the acts of man which are ordinary, Allah is not involved. And then you are saying that there are acts that Allah is out of the control of Allah. So you are limiting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the true understanding is that things can be done by the different causes to be ordinary or to be extraordinary. But the point is that it can go through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the permission from Allah. And we said that according to Mirza Jawad Tabrizi mentioned that permission means that the capability, the power that Allah gives them, as says, we supported you by Ruhul Qudus. Ruhul Qudus is a faculty inside man that is specific for the prophets, and that Ruhul Qudus is the one that gives that power to the prophet, and this Ruh is not in other people. So the other people, ordinary people, they cannot do that. Otherwise, if you want to say that extraordinary things can only be done by Allah, it's a very dangerous issue. In a sense that imagine at the time of the revelation, there were diseases that nobody could heal them other than Allah. So, but our scientists are healing it today. So it means that are they doing the job of Allah? According to that understanding, now, the famous Western philosopher Nietzsche said, in modernity we killed God. God is killed in modernity. So these people also, they have to say that in modernity God is killed, because now the scientists are doing things that only God could do at the time of revelation. So if those acts only were to be done by Allah, and if man is going to do it, it's shirk. Now you have to say that whatever the scientists are doing today is whether it's shirk, which is not, then other than that you have to say that whether these people are God or the whole story of God is a fake story. Na'uzubillah. So if you want to say that extraordinary act is only to be done by Allah, now I tell you, imagine if the science develops to a level that tomorrow, by these developments, just an imagination, just an hypothesis, if they develop to a level that they can do, I don't know, audiotherapy, the doctor can recite some formulas and then a specific disease will be healed. Or they can, by their eyes, They develop the science in a way that they just look at the disease and then the disease will be healed. Then you would say that these are doing the miracles of the prophets, so they are prophets, or they are gods, or they have challenged and they defeated God. In that understanding, to say that extraordinary thing only can be done by God, then tomorrow if they come with this, now you see in cloning, they want to clone human being. They're cloning a human being. So are they creators? No. This is the science, this is the knowledge. And this is bi'iznillah. Allah says, وَلَهُ الْجَوَارِ الْمُنْشَآتْ فِي الْبَحْرِ كَالْأَعْلَامِ. These, great ships, the navies that they sail on the sea, this belongs to Allah. But the ship, the boat, Allah didn't make it. But Allah says, they belong to me. وَلَهُ الْجَوَارِ الْمُنْشَآتْ. What does it mean? It means that, what did you do? You just used the material in the nature that I created. You put them together, you made a boat, you made a ship. The material was from me. The brain was from me. The knowledge I gave you, everything I gave you. So that is also mine. Means that in the chain of causes, even the ship, the boat that you make is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the true understanding of Tawheed. So to have some extraordinary powers for some prophets doesn't mean that nobody can do that, only Allah can do that. Otherwise it's shirk. This is very narrow-minded Bedouin desert mentality of the Arab of Hijaz to think like that. And unfortunately, some people calling themselves learned people, and now they are repeating the same thing. And this is a knowledge that Allah has given to His prophets. Ilmul ladunni, that Allah says, my own knowledge I gave to the prophets. And we see that Allah in different occasions mentions that they did it. We refer to the verse about Isa alayhi salam, that Allah says, you did it. Of course, bi'iznillah, but you had the power to do that. In Surah An-Naml, when Allah talks about the story of jinn, and also another one who is Asif bin Barkhia. When the Prophet Soliman said, قال يا أيها الملأ أيكم يأتيني بعرشها قبل أن يأتوني مسلمين. So, that lady, the Queen of Saba, they want to come to Suleiman. And now he said that to his people who were with him, to the elites. Which of you will bring me her throne before they come to me in submission and in Muslimin, to be submitted to me? I want them, when they come to see the queen, to see her own throne here with me. So what was the answer? قال إفريت من الجن. One of the ifrits of jinn, from the jinn, said, أنا آتيك به قبل أن تقوم من مقامك. I have the power to bring it to you from the other country before you stand up from your place. How long it's gonna take? Maybe a second or a second and a half. وَإِنِّي عَلَيْهِ لَقَوِيٌّ أَمِينٌ. He said, he didn't say Allah will bring after I call it. Inni, I will do that. I do that. The jinn said, I do that. Ana atika. Ana atika means clear. Ana, I will bring it. Of course, it's clear that I cannot do it without the permission from Allah. I cannot do it without the... Can I speak without the permission from Allah? Can we walk? Can we talk? Can we do anything without the... Of course, the permission is coming from Allah. He said, أَنَا آتِيكَ بِهِ قَبْلَ أَن تَقُومَ مِن مَقَامِكَ. Then he said, وَإِنِّي, I am certainly, I am, إِنِّي عَلَيْهِ لَقَوِيٌّ أَمِينٌ. I am strong. I have the power. He's declaring, I have the power. I can do that. I am trustworthy. You can rely on me. Then قال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب. The other one who had علم من الكتاب. علم من الكتاب means the one who had min is tabi'izi. some of the knowledge of the book. He had some of the knowledge of the book. What was his capability? قال الذي عنده علم من الكتاب أنا آتيك. I will bring it. Again, I didn't say I will call Allah, then Allah will bring it. أنا آتيك به قبل أن يرتد إليك طرفك. I will bring it before you twinkle your eyes. Means that even less than a second. Then Soliman said, no, you do it. So you see that somebody had such a power. So when you say قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ, and these are not prophets. These elites with the Prophet Soliman, they are not prophets themselves. But they have such powers. So is it against Quran if somebody has some extraordinary power or some extraordinary knowledge? Allah says, we gave him some knowledge of the book. In other verse, in other place, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, suffices for me to be my witness, Allah وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمٌ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ, and the one who has the knowledge of the book. We have abundant many hadiths say that the one who has knowledge of the book is Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam, Ali ibn Abi Talib. So how can you expect a person who had ilmun min al-kitab, some of the knowledge of the book, he has the power to carry the throne in less than a blink of eye. Now the one who has the whole knowledge of the book, ilmul kitab, man indahu ilmul kitab. Because it is different from Allah. Allah and the Prophet said, كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ ilmul kitab. So وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ ilmul kitab is different from Allah. So who is this person who is shaheed of the Prophet, with the Prophet? And he has the knowledge of the book. So what can he do when he has the whole knowledge of the book? When somebody who had some knowledge of the book, he could do such a thing. When we have again another story is the story of Khizer alayhi salam, the Prophet Khizer. Of course, the name is not mentioned in the Quran, and whether he was the Prophet or not again is a matter of debate. And Allah calls him as a good servant. That he says Musa alayhi salam with his companion, they were going to meet that Abd Saleh. He says فَلَمَّا جَاوَزَ in Surah Al-Kahf, verse 61. فَلَمَّا جَاوَزَ فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَجْمَعَ بَيْنَهُمَا نَسِيَا حُوتَهُمَا فَاتَّخَذَ سَبِيلَهُ فِي الْبَحْرِ سَرَبًا. When they reached the confluence between them, when they reached the area, they forgot their fish, which the fish found its way into the sea and ran away, sneaking away. The fish which was the food, Musa alayhi salam said food. Food means that the fish was cooked. قال فلما جاوز قال لفتاه آتنا غداءنا. When they passed, Musa said, bring the food, then we can eat. Then he said, قال أرأيت إذ أوينا إلى الصخرة. Do you remember when we reached to the rock? And we took shelter under the rock, at the rock. فإني نسيت الهود. I forgot to tell you that I forgot the fish. فما أنسانيه إلا الشيطان واتخذ سبيله. He says إلا الشيطان أن أذكره واتخذ سبيله في البحر عجبا. The fish took its way in the sea and amazingly ran away. So the fish was not alive and the fish was not dead, because if it is dead, it's possible for fish sometimes, when they are dead, to get alive and to. So it was so surprising that the cooked fish jumped into water and ran away. What was the answer of Musa alayhi salam? قَالَ ذَلِكَ مَا كُنَّا نَبْتَغِي. That was the sign we were looking for. What was the sign? Were they looking for the jumping and leaping of the fish into water? Musa said, no, this is a sign that we were close to Khizer. Khizer was there. That was a sign that Khizer was there. Who was there? They turned back. فَوَجَدَ عَبْدًا مِّنْ عِبَادِنَا آتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِّنْ عِنْدِنَا. They found one of our servants there, that we blessed him with our mercy. وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِن لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. And he was a servant that we taught him from our own knowledge. From our own knowledge. From the knowledge which is for Allah. From the secret knowledge of Allah that people, they don't have access to that. So khizer, to be khizer or to be abd salih, whatever. This abd, the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was such a person that because he had ilmul ladunni, he had been bestowed that knowledge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That knowledge is not just some data, in the mind. It's a power. It's a capability. And by that capability, you can do things. That is the true ilm, al-ilm sultan. The Prophet Sulaiman himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَوَرِثَ سُلَيْمَانُ دَاوُودَ. Sulaiman inherited from Dawood. وَقَالَ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ أُلِّمْنَا مَنْطِقَ الطَّيْرِ. He said, O people, we have been taught the speech of the birds. I can talk to birds. I understand what they say, and I can talk to them. وَأُوتِينَا مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْمُبِينُ. And we have been given out of everything. Indeed, this is a manifest advantage. What does it mean? قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ. I'm a person like you. He's declaring that we have fazl mubin, we have a manifest advantage because of being a prophet over you. It's very clear that Allah has given advantages to the prophets. Even though if the prophet is Sulaiman alayhi salam also, if he wanted to face the kuffar, to say that you are a crazy person, you don't understand anything, otherwise you have to bring, an ocean of Pepsi Cola for us. Then to say that إنما أنا بشر مثلكم. I'm a person like you. I cannot do that without the permission from Allah. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that he has no knowledge, he has no power. This is a declaration. إن هذا لهو الفضل المبين. Allah has given a manifest advantage to us. So the Prophet of Allah, Sulaiman, has a specific position and virtues and advantages. He can speak to the birds, and Allah says we gave him from everything. وَأُوتِينَا مِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. So from everything we gave him something special that it was not with others. And then Sulaiman alayhi salam is bragging about it. Of course, not in a negative sense, to show the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his servant. وَحُشِرَ لِسُلَيْمَانَ جُنُودُهُ مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ وَالطَّيْرِ. And Allah says Solomon's hosts were marched out for him from the jinn, from the human, from the birds. So is it ordinary to have army of birds, to have army of jinn? This is not ordinary. This is a power Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to Sulaiman. In Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 81, وَلِسُلَيْمَانَ الرِّيحَ عَاصِفَةً تَجْرِي بِأَمْرِهِ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ الَّتِي بَارَكْنَا فِيهَا. Allah says, and for the Sulaiman, we subjugated the violent wind. Wind was at his control. He was the commander of the winds. Not the normal winds. Of course, normal winds could be in his control, but even the wild winds that you see that they are coming to destroy everything, even that wild wind was in the control of Sulaiman. Is it ordinary? Of course it's not ordinary. Tajri bi'amrihi, that the wind to move by his command, by his order. So when Allah says by his command, does it mean that no, Sulaiman just asked Allah? By his command, Allah says by his command. The wind was at the order of Sulaiman. Of course it was the mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلِسُلَيْمَانَ الرِّيحَ قُدُوُّهَا شَهْرٌ وَرَوَاحُهَا شَهْرٌ وَأَسَلْنَا لَهُ أين القطر in Surah in verse 12 in another place. Allah says, and for the Soliman we subjugated the wind. Then he could move قُضُوُّهَا شَهْرٌ. In the morning he could move the distance that people can move in a month. من رباحها شهر. And also in the evening he could move the distance that people can move in a month. So in a single day, 2 months distance he could move. So fast, so quick. وَأَصَلْنَا لَهُ عَيْنَ الْقِطَرِ. And Allah says that another thing that we bestowed to Sulaiman alayhi salam was that we caused a fountain of melted copper to flow under his feet, and it means for him. So he could use the melted copper to produce things, technology, a kind of superior technology that Sulaiman had and the others didn't have. So this is a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the declaration is very clear. Allah says, إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْمُبِينُ. So when the Prophet said that, قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ, when they said we are the people like you, it didn't mean that they didn't have any extraordinary knowledge, they didn't have any extraordinary power, and they couldn't do extraordinary things. And they were humans. To say that they were humans in absolute sense, no difference with others. This is not what Quran supports. Quran says that they had virtues, they had advantages, they had things that Allah bestowed them, ilmul ladunni, knowledge of His own, from the knowledge of Allah. That knowledge, as I said, is not the knowledge that you can teach. It's the knowledge that you can live with it and you can give life with it. You can do acts by that. That is the real knowledge. The knowledge that we have is not the real knowledge. That is the real knowledge. So that knowledge that when Khizer alayhi salam has, that getting close to him will make the cooked fish to jump into water and run away, sneak away. That is a true ilm. And Allah says we gave to the prophets, even though we don't know whether Khizer was a prophet or not. So, إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ doesn't mean that I am like you, we are like you in all aspects and we don't have any advantage and privilege over you. Inshallah, we will continue in the other session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.